changing the filters over here. The filters that are located between the pressure tank and the house. Normally we keep this cloth here, this dirty old rag, and it helps protect the filter canisters from sun because they're not made out of the best quality plastic. So first thing you do is you take off this old rag, you close the valve that's over here, right? Can you see that? Close that valve like we did before, close that, and then I have to close that valve way back there. So let me get over there. You need to be very flexible to get in there. So we're going to take out number 1 first. So these are quick couplers. You might get a little bit of water when you do this. You pull this back like so, and then the hose will come off. And you look at the arrows here. This tells you which way they're supposed to face when you put it back. Okay, so we take that out. Okay. And you see that the filter is getting a little bit dirty. I've seen them dirtier than this, but since we got it out, we'll replace it. So first we're going to drain it. So we can go ahead and pause the video. Is it ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so we drained all the water out. And the next thing we do is we open up this canister. If you have an assistant, it's easy to do, but if you don't have an assistant, I usually take it over here to this workbench. And gosh darn it, where did I put my filter wrench?
I'll post it first. Play.
Okay, so this is the filter wrench you would use. If you have an assistant, the assistant can hold it for you, you know, and then you can turn this. But if you don't have someone to help you, what I usually do is I stick it down here like this, between these two boards, and then I stick this tool on here like so, and it's just like undoing a jar of mayonnaise. Okay, you just unscrew it like that, and you, whoops, might get wet. Take out the old filter, and if you look at the filter, you can see the dirt is starting to get to the inside. So the water flows from the outside of this tube, and then it goes out this way and into your house. So once the dirt starts getting to the inside of this hole, then the dirt's going to start coming in your house. This is 2 weeks old, so the longest you want to go, you know,
3 weeks?
at the most, you know, I would say, depending on the volume of water you use. So now I will get my new filter.
Oh, you're going to replace now? You're going to still use that one?
Oh, no.
Oh, really?
I went through the trouble of taking it out.
Oh.
So I like to use this brand here called Mega Fresh. I buy this at Ace Hardware. If you're on a tight budget, you can buy the ones that they have at Wilcon or Handyman or Savers Home Depot. They're a little bit cheaper. So for the number 1 canister, it's a 1 micron filter, okay? And that helps catch most of the dirt and dust and things like that. You want to center this hole upon that little nipple down there in the bottom, like so. This can only go back together one way, so don't worry. If you put it together wrong, it won't go back together. So right now it has a little groove from where I put it, so I turn it over, so this time the groove is facing down and the rubber washer will last a little bit longer. So the rubber washer sits on top.
Where do you buy the rubber washer?
I get them at Handyman at Park Mall. Sometimes I make my own out of gasket material. But you can get them if you buy a couple of filters at Handyman Park Mall. They will give you some for free. Ace Hardware that sells Mega Fresh doesn't have any. So you put it back down here again, like so. Put the tool on here down far enough that you can hold it. Maybe put your knee against one of these nipples here to help hold it. And then tighten it down a little bit tighter than you would tighten a jar of peanut butter or mayonnaise, something like that. You don't want to tighten it too much that you break the plastic, but just use common sense. If it leaks, it's not a big deal. You just take it and tighten it again. So let's go put this one in place. So this hose goes on there.
This hose goes here. Okay, now we're going to do the other one. Take that out. Okay, you can pause it again, Mahal.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the second canister, number 2. It has a charcoal filter like this, which is also Mega Fresh. This one I change once a month. I change it on the 1st of the month. Number 1, the other one I changed just a minute ago, I changed that on the 1st and the 15th. This one lasts a little bit longer. So this one here is supposed to block chemical contaminants, and the other one is for sediments. So first thing, just like we did before, we put it down here, and you brace it like so. Oops. Okay. There we go.
Mao maski ako. Tagduhan ni kabuan. Awa ko man record. Just let me know if start.
I thought you were
Oh, it's been starting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be recording. Okay, so we take that out. If you, this one, sometimes you look in there, you'll see a little bit of debris. Today it's not too bad. So just pour anything out. Always make sure that this O-ring is still in place. Sometimes these will stick to the lid. You want the O-ring to be in here. That O-ring is this white rubber thing. Okay, so our new filter is, where's our new filter? Oh, here it is. Should have opened this up already, huh? Okay, so this filter is made by a different company than the company that made this. So it's a little, sometimes they're a little bit shorter. You may have to use 2 washers on it. So again, you put it on this hole goes on this nipple down here, and you'll fill it when it's centered. If it's centered, it will stand up like that on its own. Okay? And see how it's got a ridge? We're going to put this ridge side down so that this the smooth side is facing up. I just flip them up around every month or whenever I change it. It's relatively okay. Now, sometimes these filters are a little bit shorter than the canister because they're made by 2 different companies. So shake it like this, and if it rattles, you have to take it out and put another washer on the bottom, because if you don't, water is going to bypass the filter, and you're going to get dirt. This is the only one that you'll have this trouble with, is the charcoal one. If you buy the charcoal filter at Handyman or Savers Home Depot, they fit perfectly because they're made by the same company. So again, we tighten this down, kind of like we did before. If you have an assistant to help you, it's a little bit easier because he can hold it while you tighten it.
Oh, that's tight.
Yeah, that's tight. So now what we do, we take it back over here. Take it in place. And again, the water is going to come out of this tank. It goes through this hose. It goes into this number 1, goes down this hose, and then comes back up here through the same hose. And then from here, it's going to go into the house like that. Now, before we turn it on and start sending it to the house, we need to flush these filters with fresh water. So stand back just a minute. So what we do is we disconnect this line here from the house. This is the water that brings, the hose that brings water into the house. These are not garden hoses, these are chemical hoses. So now what we're going to do is run it for maybe a minute or so. There's 2 purposes in this. We get all the air out of these filters, and we also get any dust from the factory, contamination. Because sometimes, you see, once there's water in the canister, it'll stand up because it's heavy then. So you'll see right now all the air is coming out. So we let it run like this for about 30, 45 seconds or so. That way we get anything that was on those filters, any you know, packaging debris or anything from the factory that was in there. Okay, maybe a little bit more. If we don't do this, when you turn on the faucet in the house, it's going to spit. You know, because all the air will come out the kitchen sink or out the bathtub or whatever. It's not good for the fixtures, so it's better you do this to get the air out. Okay, so that's good enough. So I close that valve. I reconnect this. I reconnected this to here. Now I open this valve here. Okay, and then I'm going to open that valve there. Okay, now sometimes when you do this, you'll have a little bit of water drip. If you have a little drip, like one drip every minute or something, don't panic. Sometimes these hoses will need to settle into a new position. Or there's an O-ring on these things. Sometimes when you disturb things like that. But if you have a leak that's faster, sometimes what happens is these things come unscrewed. Like this piece right here. You see where my finger is? This gray piece. Do you see that? Okay. Sometimes that will come loose and you just have to tighten it back onto that pipe. Same thing here. These things all screw together. So if you get water dripping from here to there, maybe you just tighten it. So what we do now is we look around the edge here for any drips. And if we have a drip, we take it out and tighten it. And if we tighten it and it still drips, then we look at the O-ring. That looks like we're in good shape. Both valves are open, so water is flowing through the new filters into the house. So this is on the roughly the 1st. So on the 15th, you would change this one only. Then on the 1st of next month, you would change both of them. And that's pretty much it. The end.